we've created this code, one's fine, does exactly what we want. However, there's definitely going to be a few issues, as I've made you aware in the last video. So essentially what we're going to do, smoothing out those issues, and I'm also going to go into functions, but in C# they're called methods. So I'm going to show you a method and just show you how we can use this code and essentially switch it to make it slightly better. Let's start with the issues first. And what did I say issue was? I'm going to start with this. So there's conditions. You have quite a few. Let me go on Google, because like I said, Google's your best friend. Conditions and if statements. So what we're going to use today, the if statements. Yes, I'll show you else as well actually. So, okay. We got the if statements, which is a condition, which just means, how do I explain it?
Okay, let's explain if else conditions in terms of this game, yeah? So, if I push this forward, the condition is he will move forward. Else, I don't press anything, he's still. If else, I move forward and I press this button, then he should move forward and attack. So if forward, run. Else, nothing. If else, move forward and attack.
So essentially what we're going to do, I've created a if condition before. Okay, so I'm going to say if your build percentage is equal to 0.1. So oh yeah, just before I fly through. So essentially, if you notice here, when you're declaring a variable, you have one equals. So that means I am setting this to this. However, when you're doing conditions, we do double equals, which means if this is equal to this, then do something, essentially. Because in these conditions, the computer talks in like ones and zeros, so trues or falses, essentially. And this is just basically saying, if this is true, then do this. So what I'm saying is, if build percentage is equal to this, and I need an or statement. So you've got different statements. You could have your and, which means if it's equal to this and this, then you could do something. Or you could do if it's equal to this, or this, or this, then do something. So basically this gives you a lot more options. So essentially, don't really want to type it. I've done it all before. So what I've said here is if this is equal to this, or if this is equal to this, or if this is equal to this, do something. And what we want to do now is we're going to do this whole mathematical equation in there. So let's cut that, paste it into there, and then now we're going to do an else statement, and we are going to say incorrect percentage, right? So 255, 5, 12. Okay, that works. And as you've seen before, when I made a mistake, if you put the wrong number in, it's gonna say incorrect percentage. But we're just gonna try it just for Pete's sake. 5 and 100% incorrect percentage. Perfect. So you know that works. So next is the issue of if people put just letters in. Now there's something because I know it's called try and catch. Like I said, best thing to do sometimes is Google everything. Try and catch. So try and catch. So essentially what it's gonna do, it's gonna try something, and if it doesn't work, it will catch it and produce an error message. That's all we're doing here. So got to try, got to catch there, and I know that, you know what, let's put it all in there. So you're gonna try that. If it errors, you're going to say incorrect input. So GG, incorrect input. Okay, perfect, that works fine. Now we're gonna go over methods. One thing that I did notice when I was going through this, I feel like I was flying through things. I didn't explain certain things. When I was doing the if condition, I pressed tab and it auto complete things. Completed certain things for me. For instance, these curly brackets. So essentially, when we are creating, say, like conditions, the try catch, you kind of want to put your main body of what you want to do inside the curly brackets, essentially. And especially when you're declaring variables and stuff like that, you need I forgot what these are called, these semicolons, but you need these semicolons at the end. Without it, you would get an error anyway, and the computer would tell you. So look, if you hover over it, it expected, see. So sometimes your computer could be your saving grace. We are gonna go into methods, and to explain methods a bit, it's basically, I don't want to use the container thing again because that'll kind of confuse you, but it's kind of a container that contains a certain task that you want to get done. Let's think about it as a video game. So for instance, we're playing a fighting game, and I've got a PlayStation, so we're gonna use PlayStation for example, and the square button is used for a left punch. Basically, every time you press square, it does a left punch. So think of that as a function, and the square is a function that holds the task, and the task is just the left punch. This here is a method on itself. So what we want to do, we want to come outside of this bracket, and then we're gonna wanna start the method after. So we start with static. Probably won't go into what static is at the moment. I'll probably explain it in further videos. The next thing that you need is a return type. So what a return type basically means is when you're doing methods, you could enter, for instance, data types that you know what you're going to return. So for instance, if the method is going to return an integer, float, yada yada yada, you just add what the return type is. In our case, we're not going to return anything. So when you don't return anything, you put something called void. What else do we need? We need to give this a naming convention. So this is going to do our whole calculation for the bill. We're going to call this one tip calc. In this case, we're going to do public as well. So we're going to do public void tip calc. Need open brackets and curly brackets as well. Oh, I think I put it in the wrong place. Yes. Sorry, I literally took that outside of the code. Sometimes you gotta be very sure which line is on, and that is on the correct line. Okay. You could add this whole code into the function or method and see what that does. Alright, so that's our method done. Gonna call our method. So like I stated before, when we run our code, everything that runs would run within the main method. So when we run it, it's gonna do the exact same thing. If it decides to run, yep. So as you can see, it's perfectly fine. as before, but you could do a little bit more with that, to be honest. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come back if it lets me. So now what we're going to do is, say in C#, like I was stating before, you kind of have to declare your variables, but as well as declaring, you kind of put what data type is going to be. So essentially with this method now, what we're going to do, we're going to add inputs. So data has to be inputted into the method for it to obviously do something. So when we call the method, you have to input the data as well. So essentially what we're going to do here, we're going to add the information that we need above. So I know I'm going to need the total bill. These could be called anything. It doesn't have to be called the exact same, but just for this, I'm just going to call it the exact same thing. And I've done quite a lot of this before. So I'm going to copy and put that in. And what we could do is, if we look at this as a whole, oh, it's not letting me zoom up, but yeah, if you look at this as a whole, what we're trying to do here now is, or actually no, what I'm trying to do and what I want to do is, we are going to show this on the console. The user puts in the bill, the percentage, the bill percentage as well, and instead of this being here, we would put it into the function, and the reason we'll put it into the function is after it's grabbed all the data, it's going to feed that data into this, and then the method or function should run. So that's what we're going to do here. If you've got that all in here, it's a bit cleaner, you separated it, and now we're going to call the tick calc, and we're going to add the total bill percentage, and what's the last one? Nope, that wasn't the last one. The last one, so that's supposed to be bill split percentage. Sweet. So give that a run. £300, 7, 12, and works pretty fine again. So I went through quite a lot quite quickly. That's pretty much the method, well, the basics of a method, because like I said before, you could do other things. For instance, you could have like a return value and stuff like that, but further along down the line with different projects, this will be a bit more prevalent. So that's that one for now.